That's scary. I didn't even tell it to start recording. It just did. I went like, and it just started. It went 3, 2, 1, go. You're on film now. So I guess my phone just knows when I'm ready. So I was at the Elden show today. Sit down, class. Let me get more standard. So I went to the Elden Ring Symphonic Adventure today. That's my room key. Get that out of the way. We don't need that. That's not important. In LA at the Dolby Theater. And fellas, it was gaming. It was like if gaming came to life. It was really good. I didn't really know what to expect. I looked as little into it as possible. I think I saw 3 reviews because I wanted to know what I was getting into before I bought the ticket. I think all 3 of the ones I remember said the orchestra was good. One of them said the gameplay was shit, which honestly made me want to go see it more. The gameplay was fine. We'll get to that. But anyway, so I went, and I guess like spoiler-free review. If you like Elden Ring, I would go. It was good. Results may vary. They credited the orchestra as like a Hollywood orchestra. So I assume if you were to see one later on somewhere else, it would be an orchestra more local to that area. Plus you're in a different building, so whole different atmosphere and different people playing. But I assume the general gist would be the same. A lot of my ups and downs come down to like audio balancing and stuff. So I think that would vary a lot, which means like overall experience might, like vary a lot. I'm very positive on it though. Don't let me say I had issues. Don't take that as me saying like it sucked. No, I loved it. In my heart and soul, my heart and soul even. Oh, besties, if any of my besties are watching this, if you listen to all the voice messages I sent in Gamer, you're caught up. I just want to keep talking, so I'm gonna do it right here. I want to see if I can remember like the whole thing. So we started. Okay, so yeah, spoiler-free review. If you like Elden Ring, I would go if you can. Thumbs up. Getting into the actual thing. Do I have more like general opinions? Yeah, so let's keep going general mode for like, this is like light spoilers, and then we'll get into peak. I've solved everything. Light spoilers. I would say the songs that were either really crazy or really chill, those were the best ones, I felt like. When it was sort of a weird middle ground, I feel like some instruments tended to overpower others. Like there was, for our orchestra, there was the snare drum that if the whole orchestra was popping off, it sounded great. It sounded pretty good. But if it was like a little bit more mellow, that thing would overpower everyone. And honestly, the songs where that would happen, like Malekith, I don't want to say it ruined it, but it was like, it really needed to be toned down. I don't know, it was too much. But that was a very minor part of the whole thing, for the record. But the songs that were good were so good. So they opened so strong. We're just getting into it now. This is Ramblies, by the way. I'm rambling right now. Opening was like the opening cutscene, goated. And then you get to the bit of the cutscene where they're like, and then last but not least, the lowly tarnished. They were given the grace. And then the title screen comes up, the title card, and I didn't cry, but they were banging at the doors, the old liquids. They tried. They tried really hard. It was powerful. It was really good. From that point on, it was like there was a Limgrave sector. That was probably my least favorite part. It was just very, I think they were using like a generic boss track for most of it. It was fine, but I was very like, I wasn't invested in the song that was playing. We hit Margit. Margit was fine. Margit was fine. It was Margit. We have Morgoth to talk about, so we'll come back. And then after that, it was like Stormveil so Stormveil is such a good song for an orchestra to play. I feel like they really captured the like ickiness of Stormveil well. I don't know how they did it, but the strings really managed to have this like offness to them on some of the notes. I feel like that was really effective. And then you get to Godric, and they popped the fuck off. And the snare drum was allowed to just be crazy because everyone else was being crazy. And Godric's such a fun song for an orchestra to do. It's a really crazy, bombastic song. I think that was the song where I started noticing they had like made adjustments to some of the tracks to help them like balance out the audio more. There were definitely sections where like it calmed down way more than like the actual song in game would, so that I could like really go crazy later. So the balancing wasn't, I think the biggest thing I learned about this was like orchestras live, it's a whole different beast than when you can get like the one perfect take. And I kind of figured that going into it, but you really do experience that while you're there, where it's like, this is all happening in front of you. There is no time to balance the audio after everything's been recorded. There is no recording, there is no balancing. You just gotta go for it. So I assume they were all doing their best, and it was great. It was a good time. Godric was so good. But I love Godric, so his music goes crazy. I really enjoyed a lot of the like phase transitions they would do. A lot of the time, either like the phase 1 track would end during the phase 2 cutscene, then they'd give like a little window for the cutscene to play, and then it would like pop off afterwards. Or phase 1 would end, and then like phase 2 would open as the cutscene was playing. I don't remember how they did Godric. I think as he was like, forefathers one and all, or whatever, that's when it was good. That was a good time. After that, I think we went into Liurnia. Liurnia basically was just Raya Lucaria. I think we mostly jumped over Liurnia. And for the record, the whole show was about 3 hours, plus a 20-minute break in the middle. You're not gonna be able to do everything in 3 hours. And like the reality of that really struck in the second half after the break. Which, like, I can accept that. And while it was happening, I was kind of like, okay, yeah, how are you going to do all of this and still get us home in time for bedtime? You're not gonna. It's almost midnight right now. Wow. I have to be up at 5 in the morning. Fuck. Oh, well. I might not even sleep. I don't know what to expect is going to happen. So yeah, Raya Lucaria, they dedicated a section to Red Wolf. Like, Red Wolf's theme was a part of this, which I liked quite a lot. I feel like it's, so easily forgotten, as some would say. So to get a little Broham in there, and the gameplay was fun. They did some cool jumps. The gameplay was cute. I think most of the time I ended up focusing too much on, like, how do they have Loretta's sickle when they're fighting an Erdtree avatar in Caelid? Like, who gives a fuck? And honestly, a lot of the builds they did were really cute. They would do, like a Carrion Knight went through Lanedale. That was fun. Dark Moon Greatsword on Radagon. But, like, they didn't stick to one build. It was a lot of different characters going at it, but they would usually be kind of themed. I feel like, I don't think it was, like, always themed, but they were obviously trying to show off different armor sets and different play styles all the time, which I thought was super cute. Um, and they would do a lot of active gameplay into more like cinematic shots. I don't really know how they did it. Honestly, it probably took an insane amount of work to get all the different builds. So, can we go back to Margit for a second? Because if anyone else ever goes to one of these or has seen it and they know exactly what I'm talking about, Margit just pulls out a Morgott attack at one point, right? Like, he does the two swords, like, spin in a circle, leap into the air, and slam down. He just, like, Margit does that. During, like, before Stormveil, Margit does that. And it really, like, fucked me up. But it was hype, because, like, how does that even happen? That doesn't happen on accident. Did FromSoft or Bandai Namco, like, record this gameplay and just fuck it, you know? Let's give them a Morgott move. Did they just put Morgott in there for that one shot? I don't know what they were doing. I don't know how that happens, but it was hype. Unless Margit can just do that, and I've never seen it, but I've fought Margit a million times. How does that happen? How does that happen? Where were we? So, Renala. So, Red Wolf Renala. First phase Renala got a little... They kept in the children singing, which on its own is fine, but they had a pretty repetitive loop of them singing that, like, you know, you'd hear the same lines, like, kind of back to back a lot, back to back to back even. And it overpowered the orchestra. It was a bit too loud. I think it could have faded out at some point and taken a little bit less of a spotlight. Renala Phase 2 got a lot of time to just kind of be itself, though, which was beautiful, because that's a very chill song. And another one that probably gets swept under the rug a little bit. Did we go to Caelid after that? I believe we did. When did Ruinstream Precipice happen? I think that was part of Liurnia. They dedicated a section to the song the, like, Lady Bats sing, mostly in, I think it's Song of Lament, and you mostly probably know it from Ruinstream. I really love that they did that, because it was just a chance for, like, it was a little bit, I think it was a little bit of woodwinds and entirely choir other than that. And I really liked that bit. I didn't expect them to do that. I love that they took the time to do some of these smaller tracks and also, like, side bosses. I think in the Caelid section, that's when we had Erdtree Avatar, which I think Erdtree Avatar's rendition was one of my favorite songs. I think it had that perfect balance of, like, chill enough to where the balancing of the sound was good. It let the choir come out. And it's just a good song. So, you know, kudos all around. They used, like, Loretta's sickle, I think, on the Erdtree Avatar. I think I used that. I mentioned that earlier. I feel like I remember at the time thinking, like, oh, because, like, Caria versus Lane Delta, but I don't think it's Caria versus Erdtree, though. I don't know the lore, guys. I don't know the lore. Maybe I get hurt. Ow. Ow. So we go to Caelid. Song of Honor is prominent. And my home brother Blythe. Oh, mwah. I love you. Every day I love you. Think about you all the time. Wish you didn't get killed by me. But, you know, sometimes things happen, buddy. And then Radahn. Of course, Radahn. Radahn? I remember being very emotional at the end of Phase 2, because you get the very, like, respectful part of Radahn's theme in Phase 2, where it's very calm and it's very, like, kind of has, like, military, like, honoring those we lost vibes. I love Radahn's theme. Radahn's Phase 2 is really good. And they really hit that, like, emotional peak at the end, I think. And Radahn's theme was really calm, which I think kind of sold the, like, this is kind of a somber occasion, which it's kind of hard to feel for me in game when he's like, and it's like, that's too much, buddy. We gotta knock that off. Maybe save it for tomorrow. Save some at least. But I'm not the one in charge. So And then from there, where did we go after Kaled? Did we just go to, I think we went to Altus. That might have been when we climbed Ruin Strewn. I don't remember. There was no Magma Worm. No Magma Worm, thank God. What did we do in Altus? I feel like there was, I remember there were some shots of like Dominula. We didn't get any Godskin before Godskin Duo. It was chill. But wasn't there a boss we did in Altus? Oh, Draconic Tree Sentinel. We got a Tree Sentinel moment, of course. That was peak. I was hoping it'd be Lanceax, but you can't have everything you want in this world. It sucks. It fucking sucks. But you gotta grow up. You gotta deal with it. And then we go into Lanedell. Lanedell had a kind of saucy guy on the guitar for like the opening half. Lanedell's really good. Lanedell's a really good track. Very memorable for me. And yeah, they had a guy kind of jamming it on the strings, and he was cute. That was a cute thing they did. I think it was mostly in the opening half they did that, and he would do the like, which is very like magical. Oh my god, the tree. I'm trying to, because I think it did represent a sound that's in the actual song, but it's kind of, I feel like it was more toned down, and then the strings in this version were like very prominent and powerful. So it was kind of a different vibe. But then you get to Morgott, and my king. Godfrey may be my lord, but Morgott is my king. And in actual Elden Ring, I feel like his song, you know, the phase 2 when the kind of solo string moment happens, I feel like it gets drowned out a little bit by all the other sounds going on. But in this, I feel like they hit it so fucking good. They did my homeboy justice, and I love Morgott on his lips, but he's dead. Not again. But I love Morgott. I was very emotional during Morgott as well. And then what happened was after Morgott, the lights turned on and the orchestra stood up and people just started walking out. And I was so scared that it was over. And like I was already coping. I was like, well, at least it ended on my home brother. I can live with it ending on my home brother, but I'm sad. And I was a little soon. But no, it was just halftime. I assume that's a common thing, but that was my first time experiencing it, so I was scared out of my gourd for a minute there. And then we come back. Peak returns in our darkest hour. Peak returns, and the second half was weird. This is when the whole issue of like, how do you get all of Elden Ring in these 3 hours? How do you do that? The answer is you don't get all the Elden Ring in those 3 hours. We started with mostly underground stuff, so we got the first main song was Ancestor Spirit, and that one was really good. I'm really glad they did the whole thing. Probably because it's Peak, and I respect that. Honestly, a good call from them. I think then we went to Moog. They did a fun thing with Moog where we transitioned from Spirit to the elevator going up to his room. This is real Moog, by the way. Real Moog is happening right now. And during the elevator up, they do sort of his opening bit, and then pause, cutscene, and then like the song hits as the fight starts, which I thought was cute. They did a lot of cute stuff. I'm glad there were definitely times where like what was happening on screen and what the orchestra was doing didn't really line up perfectly, but like I think they tried a lot of cute stuff, and it was fun. I think you just have to not be like nitpicky with it. When my nitpicky brain turned on, I had to like kill it, like with a lot of hammers, which I just had on me, of course. Where else are you gonna keep them? So yeah, Moog 2, real Moog. Let me remember. I think that one got a little bit of snare drum-itis. Wait, when did Rykard? No, Rykard happens in Altus. That's where it happens. We gotta talk about Rykard. Oh, fuck. Rykard I was really looking forward to, because I heard a tuba practicing Rykard during like when like there was warm up and people were just getting ready and sitting down and stuff, and I heard the tuba go and I was like, I fucking want to go now. oh my god, Rykard's gonna be in the show, unless they're just an Elden Ring fan, which unlikely. But Rykard's probably gonna be there. I was so excited for Rykard. I had heard Rykard on the plane ride to LA that same day, because this was all a 1-day thing for me, except tomorrow. That's I fly back. Then Rykard was there, and I was so excited. And first phase, like the God Devouring Serpent, that was fine. The choir, sometimes they were crazy. I don't know how, sometimes they get so loud and like manage to get over the rest of the orchestra, even though they're standing in the back. Even though like most of the time they were pretty quiet, sometimes like, especially when the like higher end ladies would like go for it, they hit it so good every time. They were popping off. Shout out to the ladies. And then, but see, there's a problem with Rykard's theme, because the God Devouring Serpent half, that's like all female vocals. And then the Rykard half, I'm pretty sure is either mostly or entirely male vocals. So you got the orchestra split into like the female and male halves. It's already kind of quiet most of the time, and then like only half of it is active at any given time. And then Rykard's track is insane. It goes like, and then the, and I was like, how is all this gonna happen at the same time? And the snare drum was out for blood. So Rykard was probably my biggest disappointment, mostly because I was looking forward to it so much. But you know, that's just how it is. And if Rykard's the sacrifice for all the other stuff, I'll live with that. And again, like this is all one take, and there's no editing after the fact. So honestly, for how much shit they had to do for this one session, good job, fellows. And this is my first orchestra experience. I don't know if I said that before. I probably did. So I don't know how other ones sound. This was my first experience with it, so I'm just like, I'm kind of coming to terms with all of this for the first time, and coming from the game where, again, like literally they can craft that perfect take. It's very, I mean, humbling's not the word, but it kind of puts into perspective like how much fucking work these are, and how much effort goes into this stuff to make it what it is. And it's so cool. It's so cool to see it happen in front of you. The stage, bro. It would like, you'd go into Volcano Manor, and like this whole red light would like wash over the whole orchestra, and the sides, it was like this curtain decor on the sides of the stage, and it would glow too. And like Ray Lucaria, they had a blue-purple thing going on. Ancestor Spirit, it was a nice teal wash over everything, and it would just change as everything went. It was so peak. I did absolute cinema. That's me right now. I probably look like a little boy right now. This is fun. I should do this more often. I should just go to hotel rooms and do this. Anyway, Rykard Detour over. Where were we? We did Moog 2. I remember that. I was there. Definitely, yeah. Snare drum itis. A little bit. And that one, the vocals struggled to get over the rest of the orchestra. But, like, Moog's phase 1 is so peak. The opening bit. Every time. Gets me every time. But yeah, I think the choir could have had maybe a few more members, or better. I don't know if they needed like a microphone or something. I don't know how that works. I don't know how you do that. But then the times they pulled through, they went so crazy. Like during the opening, like I don't know how they do it sometimes. And Godric, they were popping the fuck off. They're crazy. They got crazy people out there at Dolby Theater. And then, so what was after Moog? I think we went to Estelle. I think Estelle was after Moog. And they did a fun thing with Estelle where the track mostly played over sort of the exploration on your way down to Estelle. And then when the track was really like, that's like walking in the door and seeing them. So we went from like is it Noxtella? Yes, right? Nokron's the higher up one. We might have gone like Nokron, Noxtella, Lake of Rot, all the way down. Oh, and Deep Root Depths was in there too. That one was peak because the song it takes a while to ramp up, but it has like sections where it gets really violent, and they had a really good bit going during the Deep Root Depths bit where it's mostly showing the destruction like Estelle can cause. And Estelle's cool. Estelle has a cool song. I kind of wish Falling Star Beast was included in this so we could have like the dichotomy. But that's just how it is sometimes. Sometimes you don't get Falling Star Beast in there, and that's fine. That's fine. We gotta get past that. I think after that, now this was a weird bit. I think after Estelle, we did, what's it called? The Sewers under Lanedale. I don't remember what the actual area is called. I'm not a real Elden fan. I actually think it's kind of Elden shit. All this for a mid game, by the way. Like, but yeah, we went to Shunning Grounds, Subterranean Shunning Grounds. There She Blows, which had Knights Cavalry music for some reason. It was fine, and I think they just wanted to keep up the tempo and keep up the action. It worked well enough, but I feel like Shunning Grounds has a really iconic opening stinger. Like the... I would have loved to hear that live, even if it was only just the first like 30 seconds of the song. Because after that, we went to Moog 1. But it's so funny, because at the time I was like, what the fuck? But thinking about it, I'm like, my first playthrough, I did Moog 2 first and then Moog 1 like post-game. So I guess it's kind of lore accurate. And I know they're just trying to dump a bunch of like side content stuff in there, but why not do Moog 1 before Moog 2? I don't know. I think they just wanted to capture the average Elden gamer experience with that one. That was me. That was me in the trenches, first playthrough, 2022. And then after that was very brief Haligtree into relatively brief Elfhail. Elfhail's bit was really good though. Elfhail's a great track as well. That's another one. It captures that same Lanedale energy of like the majesty of it. And then Melania. So for the record, we have not gotten to Mountaintops yet. Like that, we're not even there. They're just doing all like the main side stuff, and then they did like Mountaintops, Farum Azula, blah 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 blah. Melania was really good. That was one where the vocals, the choir really got in there and you know, all violent. And they pull out the harp. They pull out the harp for phase 2. You had to be there, bro. You had to be there for it. You should go. You should go. I'm telling you, you should go. I wish I was still there. That was only a few hours ago. Can you believe it? Can you believe that was only a few hours ago? I'm never gonna live this down. Millennials was really good. That was one where I feel like the orchestra consistently, like, the balance was pretty perfect. The strings would take over when they needed to. The choir would take over when they needed to. The percussion was perfect. It was like, they did so good on that one. And I'm glad it was Melania. That's a great track. That's a good one. Then we did Mountaintops, which was mostly, I think it was like Fire Giant Phase 1 mostly was the track. And they just kind of like, we only got an hour and a half to do all this back half of the game shit. We're gonna go crazy. Because you know what comes next? Godskin Duo, Beast Clergyman, Godfrey Radagon Elden Beast. Like, you're fucked. In an hour and a half, you're fucked. Especially, like, okay, so they spent half this time doing all the side stuff, and now we're going into, like, Mountaintops. Like, We don't have time for Fire Giant, fuck you, Fire Giant. No mountaintops, fuck you, mountaintops. No snowfield, fuck you, snowfield. And then we get to Fair Missoula. I am very happy we got Fair Missoula music because I love Fair Missoula music. I am not happy. And I've accepted that this had to happen, okay, to get all the fellows afterwards, give them their time in the sun, but I'm not happy we skipped over my guy Placidus Sax. His footage was during the Fair Missoula music, no Placidus Sax. And that really ruined my life because I was really looking forward to Placidus Sax. I love Placidus Sax. I love him. And he didn't deserve what happened. But then we got like, okay, I'm getting over the trauma of like realizing Placidus Sax is cucked. And then they hit you with the Godskin Duo Phase 2. And it's like, forgiven. Push the off screen. Get that out of here. Like, no one gives a shit about that bird anyway. It's like the worst boss in the game. So then we get to Godskin Duo. They did really good on Godskin Duo. They did it so good. Fuck. And Godskin Duo has such a fun track because it's like crazy and then it kind of calms down a little bit. And the bit when like everything comes down and they're just and it's like only the vocals mostly and with a couple of boings from the brass. They hit that shit. They hit that shit. I am so proud of them. That I extend all my blessings unto you if any of you orchestrators watch my ramblings. You did a really good job with that one. Then came Malekith, and Malekith Phase 1. And then Phase 2 kind of got snare drum-itis, which I hate to say it, but it's terminal. It's fatal. There's no coming back from the snare drum. I feel like Rykard is like number one disappointment, which like all of these, like the joy and whimsy meter is like up here, and the disappointment meter is like down here. Just for the record, like it's tiny. It's like 90, I want to say like 75% Rykard, and then like 25% Malekith. Because you're coming off the back of how peak the Godskin Duo was, how mad can I be? And then Beast Clergyman part was really good. The cutscene bit when the wind comes in and like so he has the thing and then this I can't do it. Like fucking I don't know how you make that sound. That's too hard. And then like I was here and then the choir, I think they managed to do a pretty good job of sweeping in. That bit was really good. I just feel like the whole song as a whole, Malekith's another one where like it's got a lot of layers and it's crazy and the tempo's weird. So I get, like Rykard and Malekith both being the ones where like it kind of like they're both insane songs. So that's okay. I'll accept that today. Maybe not tomorrow. I'll get back to you. I'll leave a comment tomorrow seeing if I forgive them. And then we get right into Godfrey. The problem with the end of Elden Ring is it's like banger, 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 banger. And that's what really, that was probably the hardest bit for this whole orchestra is like, we know that the end like 30 to 45 minutes is like banger, 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 banger. And the whole we have to do the whole things of all of them. Like, we'll trim the first half off Godskins because we hate Joy, I guess. But the back half is peak anyway, so that's fine. And then, like, the rest of it has to be the whole song. We gotta have Beast Clergyman and Malekith. We gotta have Godfrey and Horalu. We gotta have Radagon. We gotta have Elden Beast. The entire songs, all of them. So, like, what the fuck do we do? So, the first half of the second half of the show being, like, weird, I get it, and I forgive you. You're forgiven for this. I'll get past it. I'm thinking about it right now, but in a few days, I'll just be thinking about, wow, Godskin Duo was really peak, Godfrey was really peak. They did so good on Godfrey, which is good, because Godfrey's a really good boss, and he has good music. See, that's a good balance. That's like the two halves. Make one whole. Wow. And then they're such different songs. The choir really managed to come through on Godfrey. The first half was so good, and then the second half, it's like a completely different song, and they nailed it. They nailed it. It's perfect. And the footage they had for Horaloo, you were just getting thrashed and bashed and zashed. It was like you were getting shot up into the heavens, and then you were getting like grabbed. It's like, don't even let the Tarnished have a chance. I think that's smart. That's very apt to the Elden Ring experience. There was a little bit of humor. I think there were 2 jokes in the footage. One was start of Renala, like the opening cutscene, where the little like child freak bites at you and then looks up at you. The character in the cutscene had one of the glintstone crowns on, and it had like huge bulging eyes and like a little frown. And I think everyone found it funny. I think it was an apt facial expression for the experience, for like the average first time seeing the cutscene. I think it really captured that, and everyone thought it was funny. And then Radahn, they showed the summoning of Patches and then Patches leaving, which I'm glad, if it was gonna be there, I'm glad it was there. Stop. I'm glad it was there. That's an iconic moment in gaming history. And I'm glad Patches got like anything in this. I'm glad Patches was there. He should have been there. And then I guess like Horaloo thrashing the Tarnished was pretty funny as well. It was very apt, which I like. I will say my favorite parts were the opening with the Elden thing, and the ending, which was always gonna be those 2, I guess. Like they really popped off with the opening, and that if they're gonna hook you, that's a great time to do it. And then the ending ends on Radagon and Elden Beast, which are 2 of the best. I mean, I guess it's one track. It's the final battle. That's the name of the track. But like those 2 segments of music, and you're ending on Elden Beast, which so they have the fight. You do Radagon, and then you do Elden Beast. They do both the entire things. And then there's like a credit sequence where they like redo, so as the credits were, it wasn't like the actual credits, but like it was showing all the endings, like it was kind of flip-flopping between all the different endings you could get. And in the back half of that, they like brought back the Elden Beast theme to like the really bombastic part that hits, and then I was gonna the waterworks, they were, someone turned a nozzle somewhere, and I didn't cry, okay, but it really wanted to happen. It really wanted to happen. That's such a good song. And I knew it was ending too. Like obviously it was ending. The fucking endings were playing on screen. Fuck. I might never see that stuff again. That might be the only time I ever experience any of that. Isn't that there's a beauty in that. There's a beauty in that. It'll live in here forever. And now it's on this. This is good. This is good. I'm really glad I went. If you like Elden Ring, you should go. You should go. It's not a perfect experience, but what is? Elden Ring's not a perfect game. In a way, that just makes it more authentic. There was a little encore which was cute. I don't know if it was like a scripted thing, but like people shouted encore and then it happened. So I don't know if it was scripted or not. But they gave us a little extra of like a Piss Godfrey. They like did another section of it at the end, which was fun. And Godfrey's one of the ones they really hit. So if they were gonna redo a track. Oh yeah, they did do Piss Godfrey like before Morgoth as well, for the record. I skipped over that. So I kind of feel like they just did that impromptu. They were probably just like, this bit's a banger, let's do it again. Fuck it. Probably everyone likes playing that one. Everyone gets involved. That's a good track to pick. Man, it sucks when shit is over. It sucks when shit's over. Because now I have to go back to fucking work. On Monday, I gotta go back to fucking work. And I gotta live with all this stuff up in my brain. Dang it. Anyway, thanks for listening. I'm gonna go to bed now, or not. I'm gonna see if cable works. So far, it doesn't look like the cable in here works, but if it do, then I'm gonna watch a lot of dog shit. So, see you next time.